Welcome to part 3 of my transmission swap. So today we're putting in the manual transmission with the clutch assembly, the flywheel, and the transfer case. We also needed a little extra help, so we enlisted my cousin Kale, who's had a lot of experience with transmissions and clutches and any type of vehicle. Let's get to it.
Oh, perfect shot.
It didn't even really use the funnel.
Nope.
Now that we've drained the engine and taken off the oil filter, we're going to get it all cleaned up. The oil filter and the thingy that attaches it to the engine. Cleaning the gasket off with a razor blade.
There you go. That's enough. And dump it out. Perfect. Now get that O-ring surface. There you go. And then once you think most of the junk's out, we can, the chunks are out, so now we'll take the shop rack. You want to point the light down at what we're working on, Linnea? Perfect. Oh, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take just a corner of this on a screwdriver and kind of should be able to jam it in there and white like that. Oh, might have it balled up a little bit too much, but just take and jam this in there and then kind of wipe that ring off.
Okay. So now we've cleaned the gasket and the stuff off of this little handy dandy tool. And now I'm cleaning off the place where it goes on the engine.
And what we're going to do is we're going to put just a tickle of RTV on there. And we'll just enough to kind of stick it. And that way we don't have to worry about it falling out. So that will go on just like that. So now you're ready to put that back in. So this points forward. You can kind of see how it goes in.
Okay, so we put some oil on the little ring. O-ring. Put some oil on the little O-ring and put that in its groove, and we sealed the gasket onto where it goes. Now we get to put it in the engine.
So here's exactly what I was telling you about where you need to put oil on the seal. So just grab a little bit off of in there or somewhere. A little bit of oil. You need quite a bit on your finger to go all the way around that gasket. And all you need is a thin film. So work it all the way around. That's enough. And then that will thread on. And then we go about a 3/4 turn past when it stops moving. Right about there is where you start watching for your 3/4 turn.
Okay.
So we're just one more. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you, we're just going to pound that into right there and then try. I got it, Matt. Yeah. So see how I actually hit that? And then, so we'll take that back from you. So I actually put a hole in it. I got under it. Just like that.
It's coming off.
The rear main seal is up. So here's the fun part. So now we get to put the new one in.
So we pulled out the rear main seal, and now we're going to put the new one in.
Yep, set it up on top. So watch to make sure that it's going on straight. Go like that. And then what happens is this plastic sleeve fits over the crankshaft to keep all of the fins or the rib that makes this seal in place. And then you push the seal over top, and I don't move the light please. Like that. And then what we'll do is we have our custom made installer tool, and you'll put that over and you'll tap it with a hammer.
Make sure you line it with the metal part of the seal.
Yeah, it is. I don't think it's. Yeah, that's on there pretty good. And just lightly tap. Try not to break the bottom of the cap. Yeah. Alright, so now it's a good time to check and take your finger and run it around and make sure that it's driving evenly, which we can see that it's not. This side is in farther than this. So what we need to do is you're going to put your tool back up and then you're going to tap specifically over there, just slightly, and then readjust and make sure that it's going in evenly again. We're going to use this socket extension, and you're going to ever so lightly tap on it. Actually, here. We're just going to kind of work our way around so you try and get this squared up again. By using just this extension, it's not got a lot of a sharp point to it, like a punch would, and we're only hitting on the metal ring, just simply trying to get this squared in again. If you tweak them bad, you'll mess up the seal baffles on the side. And just tap it all the way around, moving it about a little bit at a time. That's about all the farther that other one was in. Let's pull the sleeve off. Just like that. And there it is. There's the rear main.
So now we've got our rear main seal in. So now we're taking off the transmission cooler lines.
So here you go. Whoa! Breaking stuff already, are we now? That's a little early in the day for breaking stuff. Good and slow going. Ah, puts hair in your teeth. It's good for you. She must not want hair in your teeth. It looks like it's finger loose now.
Wednesday or odds?
There it is. Now if you pull down on those lines, slightly, there they are. Loose.
Voila!
There they are.
Wow.
2 transmission cooler lines.
We're gonna surface the flywheel with a sander. In order to get the proper spot on, cut it for a hole cut in the truck so we can get the shifter up through the floor, I'm making a template so we know exactly how big to cut the hole. So what I've been doing is I'm laying this on here, and you find this little ring here, that's where you're gonna cut the hole so you can still get your screws through it on the outside. So I've already started cutting, so I have to line up my paper, but I'm just taking a screwdriver and running it along and leaving kind of a little groove where I find this little line has been. And then when I'm done, I'll trace it and cut it out and put a line on the truck where we're gonna cut. So I've discovered that I can just keep on using the screwdriver until I just cut right through the paper. Like that. And then I'll be able to see that it lines up with the boot. And there we go. I've got a little template, and I'm gonna go trace this onto the underside of the truck in the center of the little area that is outlined and punched. Perfect. So we've got a line traced on there based on how far the hole on the other truck was from the edge of this little stamp. And then we're gonna center our template, trace that on there for the final spot where we're gonna cut.
So what do you do with your rust-free, really nice pickup? Cut a hole in the floor.
And now we've got the hole cut in the floor of the truck, ready to put the shifter in, and now we're gonna get started putting in the manual transmission. So the first step is putting the flywheel in.
So bolts are going in, torque to 65 foot-pounds, a little bit of red Loctite on each one, and we'll do them like lug nuts in a cross pattern. Pass them in.
Flywheel on.
This is the pilot bushing. Goes the same as crankshaft to support the input shaft on the transmission. And it's a tight fit. You seat that until it stops moving. The crankshaft has a small ridge to keep it from going any further in. There it is.
We made a custom clutch alignment tool because we can't find anybody nearby with one. So now we're gonna put the clutch in. So we've been struggling for quite a while now, but we got the transmission in after a lot of going back and forth. We figured out that we needed to take the shifter stub off. We had the shifter off, but in order to get it fully up, so you could slide it in, you had to have the shifter stub off. So we'll give you a link to the video we used to find out how to do that. So now we've gotten, after we got the transmission in, we hooked up all of the little lines and clips that go on here back into their original spots, and we bolted it on to the engine. And we've got the slave cylinder back in its position. Take that out now. And so we've also put the cross member in here and the transmission support bracket. So we've got all that in, screwed in place, so next we get to put in the transfer case. Then we get to figure out what in the world we're going to do with all these wiring harnesses. That's all for part 3. Stay tuned for part 4, where we work on getting out the clutch pedal and putting it back in the other truck.